during which he earned the title of jeweler. He and his wife had operated a small jewelry store in Fort Smith and Ozark. He was now able to do what he always wanted to do: support his family. His 4 daughters, beauties like their mom, had graduated from Fort Smith schools, and now 2 of the 4, Karen the oldest and Suzanne the youngest, worked beside him in their Van Buren store at the Cloverleaf Shopping Center. The second oldest, Janet, was married and lived in Paris, Texas. She and her husband Tommy had 2 children, John and Sarah. Elaine, Staton Barham, and her husband Bill lived in Van Buren near her 2 sisters. Their son Ben, a happy 22-month-old, was the only grandchild close by, so he was spoiled, especially by his aunts, who saw him nearly every day. Kenneth Staton seldom complained or let on to others that he was in pain, but Ruth knew better. A furrowed brow, a grimace, told her when the pain was especially bad. Despite his handicap, and with determination few people possess, he owned a successful business, and with the help of his wife and daughters who clerked in the store, they looked forward to the coming holiday season. The Christmas merchandise had arrived, and Kent was confident that this would be their best year yet. He looked at his watch and made a mental note that he'd have nearly an hour before Suzanne arrived to help him open. He then slid the key into the lock on the front door of Staton's Jewelry for the last time. Chapter 2. While Kenneth Staton was opening his jewelry store, 2 men, a 23-year-old with dark, shaggy hair, and a tall man in his mid-30s with fuzzy, dyed blonde hair, sat on twin beds in the run-down, cheap Terry Motel, located on Midland Boulevard, just across the river from Van Buren. The room, number 18, had been rented by the older man under the name of Damon Peterson, with a Georgia address. The motorcycle on which he and the younger guy were riding was listed as owned by Rick Anderson, and it was licensed in Florida. Condensation from the window air conditioner dripped on an already saturated orange shag carpet that could use a good cleaning. The air, only slightly cool, hung heavy with cigar smoke, soured beer, and airwick. The outside door was once painted black, but scuff marks and indentations from angry heel prints had taken their toll. Grime covered the only window, where someone had drawn a heart with "Gerald loves Louise" inside it. Midland Boulevard was full of cheap motels and bars, with names like the Branding Iron, the Flamingo, the Oasis, and the Glass Hat. Because Van Buren was in a dry county, and Fort Smith wasn't, Midland was the quickest route to pick up a 6-pack of Bud or a bottle of Jack Daniels. Some customers parked on the side of the stores, hoping not to be seen entering the establishments preached against on Sunday mornings, while some muttered a curse and hoped that someday they would be able to buy a beer in Van Buren. These 2 men at the Terry Motel had met less than a week earlier at a campground near Horseshoe Bend on Beaver Lake in Rogers, north on Highway 71 and north again on Highway 94. Rick Anderson, the young guy, and his girlfriend Chantina Jen had arrived at the campgrounds after the carnival they had worked for closed in Topeka, Kansas. They had some time to kill before the carnival opened again in Fort Smith, Arkansas, so they followed some other carnies to Beaver Lake to camp out. One man, Pete Hubbard, had offered them his camper to use at night in Campsite 19, but they argued because Hubbard called Rick pussy-whipped for offering to bring Chantina a towel when she asked for one after swimming in the lake. The argument over a man being kind and polite to his girlfriend caused Hubbard to pack up, leaving Rick and Chantina high.